Hello and welcome everyone. In this video we are going to solve past exam papers on sequences and series. This video will be helpful for those who are preparing for university entrance examinations, particularly for pre-college or preparatory college students. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment and share to your friends too. So the first question: a ball is thrown vertically from ground up to a height of 16 meters. Each time it drops h meters, it rebounds 0.8 h meter. Noting that the ball travels every height of h twice, what is the total vertical distance traveled by the ball before it comes to rest? So what to do? First, let's try to see the free diagram of this question. Consider this as a ground. So the ball is thrown vertically upward at a height h. We can say this one as h1, that is already given 16 meters. Then it rebounds and the height decreases, obviously, because it goes 0.8 times the previous height. We can say this one as h2, and again it goes the same way. The height decreases. We can say this one as h3, and it will not end. Consider it will not end, but at some point obviously it will stop, but mathematically this is going to be the sum at infinity. So what do we know here? h1 is already given 16 meters, and what about h2? 0.8 times 16, because the previous height times 0.8, because it says 0.8 times h. And what about h3? 0.8 square times 16 again here. How do I get square? Because h3 means 0.8 times the previous height, that's h2, but h2 by itself it has 0.8, so the 0.8 will be squared. So that's the way the pattern how it goes. But what's asked? The question is asking us the total distance that the ball can travel. The total distance will be 2 times h1 plus 2 times h2 plus 2 times h3 plus it goes. Why 2 times? Because the ball goes up and down in every trajectory. It will repeat itself, so moving up and down. h1 by itself will be twice, and h2 also the same way. So we can extract the 2 outside and we can have h1 plus h2 plus h3, it goes. This is the sum at infinity, the one which is found in the bracket. We can say it as sum at infinity. So the total distance will be 2 times the sum at infinity. But to find the sum at infinity, the given series has to be convergent. So obviously if you divide h2 by h1 or h3 by h2, you can check it. Divide h2 by h1, the 16 will cancel out and it will remain 0.8. This 0.8 is less than 1. If this is a common ratio, obviously we are checking its geometric sequence, of course, and the common ratio is less than 1, so it is convergent. If the common ratio r is found between -1 and 1, the given series will be convergent, and it converges to the sum at infinity will converge to g1 over 1 minus r. So in this series, what's g1? It's obviously h1, so h1 is 16 over 1 minus the common ratio, that is 0.8. So it will be 16 over 0.2. when you subtract 1 minus 0.8 will be 0.2. If you multiply by 10, it will be 160 over 2. So the sum at infinity will be 80 meters. Okay, now we have everything. We can simply find the total distance. The total distance, we said 2 times the sum at infinity, we got it 80. So when you multiply 160 meters will be the total distance that the ball can travel. The second question: what is the sum of the series? The series is summation, 5 is there in bracket, 2 the power of k plus 5 the power of k, the whole over 10 the power of k. Okay, the k starts from 0 to infinity. We have to be systematic, and we can write this one as the 5, since it is a constant here, we can extract, and the summation we can write it 2 the power of k over 10 the power of k plus 5 the power of k over 10 the power of k. Remember, a plus b over C can be written as A over C plus B over C. We can separate the denominator, we can give for each of them. So I'm doing that. But don't forget, the 10, the power of k, the denominator part, can be written as 2 the power of k times 5 the power of k, because 10 is equal to 10 2 times 5. The same thing here also, 2 the power of k times 5 the power of k. Then I can cancel something here. First part, 2 the power of k can be cancelled, and in the second one, 5 the power of k can be cancelled. Don't forget the k starts from 0 to infinity. Now our summation will be 5 is still outside the summation. What's left in the first one? In the first addend, 1 over 5 the power of k. I can write it as 1 over 5 the power of k, because 1 the power of k is the same as 1. So I can write them, the exponent, okay, the k I can give for 1 also. So k starts from 0 to infinity, plus, I can separate the summation because it's plus 1 over 2 the power of k. Again, k starts from 0 to infinity, but the 5 is for both. We can put in a big bracket. So when you observe both of them, the addend here, this is a convergent sequence, because g1 will be 1. If you insert 0 in place of k, it will be 1 over 5 the power of 0 will be 1. The same thing here also, the g1 will be 1. The common ratio for the first bracket, I mean the first addend, it's going to be 1 over 5. Since it is simplified, the common ratio will be the one which is found in the bracket. You can check by inserting 0, 1, and then divide. The same way, the common ratio here will be 1 over 2. Both of them are convergent, because the common ratio is less than 1. This is also less than 1. Therefore, the sum at infinity will be the g1 over 1 minus r. We said already the formula previously. The sum at infinity will be g1 over 1 minus r, since it is convergent. What's g1 here? 1 over 1 minus 1 over 5, plus, for the second one also 1 over 1 minus 1 over 2. Okay, which is equal to 5 in bracket. When you subtract 1 minus 1 over 5, it will be 4 over 5. When you flip it, it will be 5 over 4, plus the second bracket, the down part here, if you subtract, it will be 1 over 2 remain. When you flip it, it will be 2. Okay, let's complete it. This is equal to 5 in bracket. When you add it, this denominator 1, 5 plus 8 will be 13 over 4. So when you multiply, it's going to be 65 over 4. The answer will be obviously D. The next question: if the second and fifth terms of a geometric sequence g2 and g5 are given, the second term is negative 1 over 2 and the fifth term is 1 over 16. But don't forget, g2 is the same as g1 times r, and g5 is equal to g1 times r the power of 4, because the formula for gn is equal to g1 times r the power of n minus 1. So since we have g2 and g5, to get the common ratio, we can divide g5 by g2. Obviously, this is the main technique that we were applying to get the common ratio if n terms are given. So when you make g5 over g2, which is g1 r the power of 4 over g1 r, that is g2, which is equal to g5 is equal to 1 over 16, the whole over negative 1 over 2. So here g1 will be cancelled and r also will cancel, and the r the power of 4 will be r cube, and is equal to, here we can multiply by negative 2 over 1. We can flip this part and bring it up. So by 2, 8, this will be by 2, 1. So what remain? Negative 1 over 8 remain. Negative 1 over 8 means negative 1 over 2 cube. And we can cancel the cube both side, and the common ratio will be negative 1 over 2. Okay, this is one of the key factor to process. And then in the first equation here, we can insert in place of r negative 1 over 2 here. Then you can find g1 easily. The g1 will be, when you insert negative 1 over 2, both sides negative 1 over 2 will be cancelled, and the g1 will be simply 1 remain, because when you insert here negative 1 over 2, the other side also there is negative 1 over 2, you can divide both sides by negative 1 over 2, so G1 will be just 1. Now we have G1 and the common ratio. What's asked? We are asked to find the sum at 8. What is the sum of the first 8 terms? So sum of n formula, G1 in bracket r to the power of n minus 1, the whole over r minus 1. So that means G1 is 1, you know, so negative. Let's write it properly and let us use our space effectively. Down. So it's going to be, so when you write it properly, it's going to be, the G1 is, you know, it's 1, and the R is negative 1 over 2 the power of 8, because the sum at 8 we are asked, minus 1 over negative 1 over 2 minus 1 is the denominator part. Then negative 1 over 2 the power of 8 will be 1 over 256 minus 1 over, here when you subtract it will be negative 3 over 2. Then when you minus, we'll get negative 255 over 256, and then we are going to flip the down part, it will be negative 2 over 3. Then the negative cancel each other here, and by 3 1, this by 3 we can simplify 85, and here by 2 1, this by 2 128. So finally the answer will be 85 over 128, that is A. Next question. The next question, it says, every day a person saves 5 cents more than the amount he saved on the previous day. Here there is something that you need to understand. Like if you start saving like by 10 cents, by the next day it will be 15, and the next day it will be 20, like it's increasing by 5. That means it is necessarily arithmetic sequence, and the common difference will be 5, because it says every day a person saves 5 cents more than the amount that he saved previous days, means the common difference obviously 5 cents. His target is to save total amount of 3225 or 3225 cents by the end of 30 days totally. That is the sum of the 30 days saving. It has to be this much amount. So how much cent must be the starting saving to meet the target? What to do here? As I said before, we don't know by how much money he starts, but let's say starts by X, let's say. That means we can consider this one as A1. So the common difference, we said it already, 5, and we are given sum of 30 is equal to 3225. These are given. The given must be clear first. Before we start doing anything, the given has to be clear. He starts by some amount of money. We don't know, let's say it X. That money must be A1. Since it is arithmetic, how do I know? Because every day he's saving 5 cents more than the previous, means the common difference is 5. So what is sum of 30 means? First of all, sum of n is equal to n over 2 in bracket A1 plus AN is the formula. So sum of 30 is equal to 30 over 2 in bracket A1 plus A30. So sum of 30, we know it is 3225 is equal to 15 times the A1 is X plus A30. This time I can divide by 15 both sides just to simplify and to remove this one. Our objective is to get the X, because how much cent must to be the starting? The starting is X, that's what we need. So when you simplify, this will be 215, you can simplify it, get it, X plus A30. What about A30? You know, again, AN is equal to A1 plus N minus 1 times D. So A30 means A1 plus 29 times D. So which is equal to A1 plus 29 times 5. So A30 is equal to what's A1? X plus 145. You can multiply and check this result. So this is A30. I can bring it. Now what do we have? 215. I can bring it from here up. 215 is equal to X plus, what about A30? We got it, X plus 145. Then I can bring this 145 and I can subtract. So I can have 70 remain. When you subtract, it will be 2x, you know, X plus X. Divide by 2 both sides, so the X value is equal to 35. He starts saving by 35 cents. That's the meaning, and the answer will be A. Next question. What's given? A1 is equal to 2, and A2 is equal to 6, and A3 is equal to 10, and A4 is equal to 14. What do we see here? What's the difference between A2 and A1? That's 4. What about between 2 and 3? Still 4. Here also 4. Obviously this sequence is arithmetic progression, and the common difference is 4, and the first term A1 already given, that is 2. Okay, we have this information. Then we are asked the sum from 1 to 100, means we are asked the sum at 100. Sum of 100. The sum of 100 means 100 over 2 in bracket A1 plus A100 according to the formula that we stated before, which is equal to 50 times A1 is 2 plus A100. What's A100? Let's get it in another place. Again, A100 means, we said before, A1 plus 99D, which is the A1 is 2 plus 99 times 4. So 2 plus, when you multiply 36, we have 3. 36 and 3 will be 39. When you add it, 298. I mean 300. 398 will be the A100, the 100th term. Therefore, the answer will be 50 in bracket 2 plus 398. That will be 400. When you multiply by 50, that's going to be 5 times 4 will be 20, and then we have 3 zeros, 20,000. The answer will be C. Next question. It says, what is the sum of the summation 3 to the power of n times 4 to the power of negative n? N starts from 1 to infinity. This is also infinite series, but first let's rearrange and let's write it. This is equal to the summation 3 to the power of n over 4 to the power of n. I can write it in this way. N starts from 1 to infinity. Because the exponent negative here, we can bring it down. So again, still we can write it the summation, since they have the same exponent, 3 over 4 the whole to the power of n. N starts from 1 to infinity. This is a simplified form. And then when you try to observe the one which is found in the bracket, it is less than 1. 3 over 4, it's less than 1. That is the common ratio. The common ratio. Since it's less than 1, it will be convergent. And the sum will be G1 over 1 minus R. What's G1? Insert 1 in place of n. When you insert 1, it will be 3 over 4 over 1 minus 3 over 4, which is equal to 3 over 4 over, when you subtract 4 minus 3 will be 1 over 4, and then this 1 over 4 will be flipped and multiplied, so it will be 3 over 4 times 4 over 1, so the answer will be the 4 cancelled, just 3, so the answer will be C. Next question. The sum of the first 3 consecutive terms of an arithmetic sequence is an with an greater than 0 for all n. That is actually 9. There is some kind of statement problem here. It is the sum of the first 3 consecutive terms of an arithmetic sequence. The arithmetic sequence, let it be an, then an should be greater than 0, it says, for all n. So it is 9 anyways, the sum of the 3 consecutive terms. And the sum of their square is 35. Then what is the sum of n of the first n terms? Like, sum of n is asked. So what to do? So let us say the first term as x. A1, let it be x. You know, obviously A2 is equal to x plus the common difference, we don't know, and A3 is equal to x plus 2d. It continues in this way. But the sum of the 3, like A1 plus A2 plus A3, is equal to 9 given. What's A1? X, and x plus d plus x plus 2d. When you add it, you know, x plus x will be 3x plus d plus 2d will be 3d, which is equal to 9. So if you divide by 3 both sides, x plus d is equal to 3. But what is x plus d? Obviously the second term. Okay, that means a2 is equal to x plus d, means obviously a1 will be, we will subtract, that's given to you 9, we'll subtract, I mean 3, it's given to us 3. X plus d is equal to 3, that is a2, we know. What about x? X means a1, so the x is equal to, if you shift the d to the other side, it's going to be 3 minus d. What about the a? This is a1, this is a2. What about a3? a3 means we can insert this 3 minus d here in place of x. 3 minus d plus 2d, if you do it, you know, 3 plus d will be a3. 3 plus d. Okay, we have these things, all of them, like a1, a2 and a3 are expressed in terms of one variable only. a2 just a number, and a1 it contains one variable, 3 minus d, the d, and a3 here it is. But the square of the sum of the square, like a1 square plus a2 square plus a3 square, given to us 35. a1 square means we will square 3 minus d, plus the a2 means 3 square plus this 3 plus d square, that is 35, given again. Let us square. When you square, we need to take care. That's going to be 9 minus 6d plus d square plus 9 again, plus the second bracket, when you square it, 9 plus 6d plus d square again, which is equal to 35. And then we need to be systematic here. Negative 6d and 6d cancel each other, and d square plus d square will be 2d square, plus how many 9s are there? 3 9s are visible there. This is just 2d square. Okay, let's write it again, 2d square, because d square plus, and then the 9s are like 9, 9 and 9. When we add it, it will be 27, which is equal to 35. When you shift, 2d square is equal to, you know, it's going to be 8, so the d is equal to, d square is equal to 4, and d is equal to plus or minus 2, but it has to be positive, so I'll take 2. The reason why positive, because here there is a restriction. It says an must be greater than 0. The n term cannot be negative. If I take negative 2, it might be negative at some point. Then what's asked? Sum of n. Sum of n formula, you know, n over 2 in bracket a1 plus an. First let's get an again. Let's wrap this part. Let's get the an here. Okay, let's use another color here again. an is equal to a1 plus n minus 1 times d. So what's a1? The common difference, we got it. So the a1 is, you know, 3 minus d we say, so that's going to be 3 minus 2, that's 1. So 1 plus n minus 1 times 2, so this will be 2n minus 2 plus 1, that is 2n minus 1. This is an. So sum of n here is the formula. So n over 2 in bracket, what's a1? Just 1 plus what's an? 2n minus 1. Then we can cancel minus 1 and plus 1, and here 2 by 2, so sum of n will be n square. This is what we need. We are asked sum of n. Just to repeat here, we need sum of n. Under sum of n, the formula, here it is, n over 2 in bracket a1 plus an. But how I get an? Here is the process. That's it. Let's go to the next question. The next question, it says, the population of a certain city is increasing at a rate of 3%. It increases at a rate of 3% per year. This 3% will be the increment. If the population was 100,000 in 2010, then what will be the population in 2020? Okay, so what is given? 2010 the population is given. The 2010 population is 10 the power of 5. You know, 100,000, we can write it 10 the power of 5. End of 2010 means it's 2011. 2011 is the same as this 10 the power of 5 plus 3% of the 10 to the power of 5. Okay, the previous one, the 2010 population plus 3% of the previous, which is equal to 10 to the power of 5 in bracket 1 plus 3%. 3% means 0.03, so this is equal to 10 to the power of 5 in bracket 1.03. This population is end of 2010, or we can say to 2011, beginning of 2011 population. What about 2012? 2012, again this population plus 0.3%, it will be plus 0.3, I mean 3% of itself. So what will happen when you calculate it? 10 to the power of 5 times 1.03 the whole to the power of 2, it will be 2012. So it goes, so in 2020 means we can consider this one as G1. Don't forget, this one you can consider as G1 because it's geometric, this one as G2. But what's asked? 2020, and between 2020 and 2011 there are 10 terms, but the 2020 population is the same as end of 2019, so there are 9 terms. So this is the G9 will be 10 to the power of 5 times 1.03 the whole to the power of 9. We need to take care here. We are asked what will be the population in 2020. It doesn't say at the end of 2020, just 2020 means end of 2019. So how many terms are there? From 2011 until 19 there will be 9 terms are there, so we are asked the 9th one. So this is equal to 10 to the power of 5 times 1.03 the power of 9. It's given already here in the bracket, the first bracket, that's 1.30. so this is equal to 130,000. that is the number of the population at the end of 2019 or 2020. Okay, let us see the next question. The next question, what is the value of the summation of 1 over n minus 1 minus 1 over n. N starts from 2 to 20. This one is a telescoping sequence. Let us see the pattern by substituting some of the terms. If you insert 2 in place of n, what you have? 2 minus 1, it's 1. 1 over 2 remain, plus, again, because it starts from 2, if you insert 3, it will be 1 over 2 minus 1 over 3, plus, if you insert 4, it will be 1 over 3 minus 1 over 4, plus it goes till the last one, it is 20. When you insert 20, it will be 1 over 19 minus 1 over 20. Then this time negative 1 over 2 and 1 over 2 cancel. Negative 1 over 3 with 1 over 3, and negative 1 over 4 with the next. It goes in that way, and everything will be cancelled out, and the first of the first and the last of the last will remain. 1 minus 1 over 20 remain. First one and the last one here. By crisscross, it's going to be 20 minus 1 over 20, which is equal to 19 over 20. This is a telescoping sequence, and the answer will be D. Next question. Which of the following relation holds for the sequence? The sequence is negative 10, then negative 3, then 4, then 11, it goes. See the gap here. Negative 3, if you subtract negative 10, it will be plus 10, that is 7. Here also 7, here also 7. So it's increasing by 7, plus 1. So the previous term plus 7, previous term plus 7. So what to do? The nth term is equal to B is the appropriate one to express this sequence. What does B says? An means the nth term means the previous term, that is the n is minus 1, the n minus 1's term plus 7, because it's increasing by 7. It is increasing, the common difference is 7. So the answer will be obviously B. No calculation here. The next question, what is the sum of the summation from 1 to 30, negative 1 the power of n in bracket 1 plus 1 over n plus 1 over n plus 1. This is also a type of telescoping sequence. there will be some kind of cancellation will appear because negative 1 the power of n. So what to do? Let us try to mention some of the terms. So it says from 1 to 30. So let us insert 1 in place of n. When you insert 1 in the first exponent here, negative 1 the power of 1, you know, since the exponent odd, it will be negative. That negative will be distributed, and then the bracket will be both negative, and then insert 1. Negative 1 minus 1 over 2. You know, when you insert 1, it will be 1 over 1 means 1. Again here, 1 plus 1, 2. But the negative 1 how comes? From the outer. Okay, plus the second term. If you insert 2, you know, negative 1 the power of 2 will be positive, so we can ignore that. Simply just substitute 2. 1 over 2 plus 1 over 3 it will be, plus in the next one it will be negative both, you know, 1 over 3 minus 1 over 4, again plus the next term, since it's a power of 4, it will be positive, so 1 over 4 plus 1 over 5. It goes like this until 13th term. The 13th term will be 1 over 30 plus 1 over 31. It will be positive because 30 is even. Then try to observe now. When you see from the first bracket negative 1 over 2, here cancel, and look like the previous one, they will cancel each other. And then what remain? Negative 1 plus 1 over 31 remain. The first and the last, that is negative 31 plus 1 over 31, which is negative 30 over 31 remain. The answer will be D. Next question, which of the following is the sum of the series what we see here? Since we are asked to find the sum at infinity, obviously the sequence has to be convergent. Let us check. The first term is 5. You can take this one as G1, and the second term is negative 10 over 3, and the third term is 20 over 9 divided like G2 divided by G1, or G3 divided by G2, or like that. If you divide, what do you get? For example, negative 10 over 3 divided by 5 means if you multiply by 1 over 5 by 1 over 5 to simplify this cut, and by 5 1, this by 5 2, so you will get negative 2 over 3. The same thing you will get for all. That means this is an infinite series with common ratio. It's found between negative 2 over 3, means between negative 1 and 1. So here our G1 it is 5, and the common ratio is equal to negative 2 over 3. This number, the common ratio, it is found between 1 and negative 1. That means it can satisfy the condition to say it is convergent. If it's convergent, the sum at infinity will be, obviously we said it before, G1 over 1 minus R. That is, G1 is 5 over 1 minus negative 2 over 3 means, you know, plus 2 over 3 it will be. So 5 over 3 plus 2, you know, 5 over 3. So when you multiply this one by flipping, 5 times 3 over 5, so it can cancel, so the answer will be just 3. Somehow interesting, the sum of all this series will be just the number 3 at the end. What's next? Okay, 5 and its 5th term, A5 also given, then its 11th term is equal to, okay, what are given? A1 is equal to negative 5, and A5 also given 15. But what means A5? You know, A1 plus 4D, that is 15, but A1 is negative 5, so negative 5 plus 4D is equal to 15. If you shift it, 4D is equal to 20, so D is equal to 5. We have the D. What's asked? A11. A11 is equal to A1 plus 10D, which is negative 5 plus 10 times 5, which will be 50, so that's going to be 45. This is A11. This one is simpler, and the answer will be obviously C. The last question for today, what does it say? what is the sum of all multiples of 4 that are between 30 and 301? 30 and 301. First of all, what is the first number which comes after 30 and it's a multiple of 4, that is 32? Obviously, this one is A1, the first term. Since it's multiple of 4, we are going by 4 by 4. That is, a common difference is 4. We know the first term, we know the common difference. What is the last term, which is a multiple of 4? So let us check how. Divide this number, 301, divide by 4. When you divide it, it will be 7 times 28, remainder 2, and bring 1, you know, it's 5 times, and 5 times 4 will be 20. What's the remainder? 1. So we have to subtract 1 from it. We cannot go beyond. Okay, this one, it has to be 0. To make it 0, either we have to make minus 1 or plus 3. If you add 3, it will be 4, so it's a multiple of 4, we can divide easily. But minus 1, because we cannot go beyond 301. So the last term is 300, that's going to be the 75th term, because we have got the quotient here. This is A75. So what is asked? What is the sum? There are 75 terms are there. So what to do? So no, it's not the 75th term. We have to count how many terms are there. Anyways, the last term that is divisible by 4 is 300. This is the nth term. So the first term is 32 and the last term is 300. So how many terms are there? We know sum of n term is n over 2 in bracket a1 plus an. We know a1, we know an, but we have to get the n. How many terms are there? Let's get that. So what the formula for an? An is equal to a1 plus n minus 1 times d. What's an? The last term is 300 is equal to a1 is 32 plus n minus 1 times d. The d is, it's 4, so I can multiply by 4 both of them. 4n minus 4 it will be. So 300 is equal to 32 minus 4 is 28 plus 4n. I will bring and subtract. It will be 2. 9 minus 2 is 7. Again 2, which is 4n. Then divide by 4 both sides. So the n is equal to 6, 32, 8, 68. So how many multiples of 4 are there between 30 and 301? 68 terms are there. So we are asked the sum of those 68 terms. Sum of 68 is equal to 68 over 2, that is 34. Obviously, multiply the first term is 32 plus the last term is 300. So 34 multiply with 32. When you multiply, it will be 11,288. You'll get this answer. So the answer will be B. These are some of the questions that I prepared for today. Hopefully I will continue with additional questions. Don't be try to follow me, and don't forget to subscribe, like, comment and share to your friends too. Thank you for watching.